Hi there, my name is Dylan White and this is the story of the Stadium Hunter. So to begin the story, we've got to go all the way back to February in 2011. Me, my brother and my dad, we went to a football match in Gillingham at Priestfield Stadium between Gillingham and Oxford United. And this was an experience that the match itself was quite dull. It finished 0-0. You want to expect goals in a match, and when a game doesn't provide goals, it can be quite boring. But I have a very strong memory of walking into the stadium. At the time, I was 9 years old, and walking into that stadium for the first time and just seeing all of the blue seats, the GFC in the Rainham end, having the temporary stand that has no roof. In terms of stadium size, Gillingham Stadium isn't the biggest in the country by any means, but the fact that a young boy like myself went to the stadium and was so impressed by the stadium really says a lot, considering how poor the match was. And that went on to really develop what would in later years become challenge for myself. During the pandemic, I was recording myself, documenting my life, since we were in a really unique time of our lives, and I wanted the footage to really show off what I was getting up to. And in the latter stages of the pandemic, I was visiting my brother who studies down in Southampton, Southampton being home of one of the biggest football clubs in the country, and I made a decision to go to the stadium and record myself. And from Southampton to Rochester, which is where I lived, it's roughly 2.5 hours. And on the way home, I was visiting a friend in Portsmouth, which is just along the Hampshire coast. And they've also got a football stadium. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to visit that stadium as well and document that as well. And from Portsmouth to home, I decided to go to Brighton because they've got a newer stadium. I thought it'd be a cool experience to go and see that stadium as well. And what this experience did was it kick-started what would become the Stadium Hunter series. Originally, it was a challenge where I would go and see as many stadiums as I could in the top 6 tiers of English football. So that would be the Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2, the Conference League, and the National North and National South. And over time, I'd slowly get through these stadiums, mainly focusing in the South East. But I got to a point where I felt that it was really going to be a difficult challenge, so I kind of stopped and shortened down the experience to just the top 4 leagues. I shortly learned afterwards that I'd be studying at university in Carlisle, which is the northern border of England, which meant that I had an opportunity to go to even more stadiums. But where Carlisle is also on the England-Scotland border, it gave me a chance to go up to places like Glasgow and Edinburgh to see some more football stadiums. So I widened the challenge even more. I kept it to the top 4 leagues of English football, but I decided to include national stadiums and any team from the top league in whatever country they're from. And up to this point, I have visited 70 stadiums across England, Scotland, and even a stadium in France, which was the Paris Saint-Germain Stadium, which, in my opinion, so far, is the best experience I've had at a football stadium. I really find it difficult that any experience will top my experience at PSG. So I was on holiday in Paris with my girlfriend, and we went to places like Disneyland, the Eiffel Tower, etc., etc. And one place that I wanted to go to on this holiday was the PSG Stadium. And we decided that we was going to do a stadium tour. And in England, most stadium tours are fairly simple. There's a guide who takes you around the stadium, which sets a duration of how long you can be in the stadium or in one place at one time. And PSG do it differently. PSG is a self-guided tour. They set out the route for you, but you can take as long as you need to. And they're very clear about that when you first get there. It really gave me and my girlfriend an opportunity to really experience this amazing stadium. My girlfriend had no idea what was going on, but to me, this was everything. This was pure excitement. I remember I had flashbacks to when I was 9 years old and first looking at a stadium, and my face to some of the reactions which we documented just shows of how amazed I was by the stadium. But the coolest part of the entire experience was the fact that they had a penalty set up behind one of the goals, which we were allowed to take penalties. We queued up, and I can proudly say that I stuck a penalty top bins at the PSG Stadium, something that the likes of Kylian Mbappe has also done, which although he's done it in a much more pressured environment, I can still say that I've done it at that stadium, which is just really cool. But on the other end, there are some bad experiences. For example, at Nottingham Forest, going to the City Ground was supposed to be a massive achievement for myself within the challenge, because at that point I had completed all 20 of the Premier League stadiums of the 2022-23 season, and it meant that I'd visited every Champions League winning stadium in the UK. And usually at stadiums, I'll be there for no more than 5 minutes. I just go there, park up, quickly walk around the stadium if I can, take a few shots, just kind of state that I'm there, go to the club shop, get a keyring if I can, and then leave. And don't get me wrong, if somebody comes and tells me I'm not allowed to film on the premises, that's fine. I'm not going to try and break the law. This is just supposed to be a bit of fun. But the security guard who spoke to me at Nottingham Forest really spoke to me disrespectfully. Like, he was like, you need to leave, you need to leave. He'd actually mistaken me for somebody who had already been banned from the stadium, but wouldn't prove to me who that person was. And I had to try and convince him I've never been to Nottingham in my life. But he was having none of it, so I had to go park away. I couldn't walk around the stadium because, well, for one, Nottingham Forest, you can't walk around the stadium, but also I just wouldn't be allowed because I didn't want trouble to get any further. But I do hope that I don't have to experience any more intolerable security guards. I might do, but that's all part of the process. That's what happens. It's inevitable that somebody's going to be upset with me just merely being at a place like a football stadium, which sets me back a bit, but I'm still determined that I'm going to visit as many stadiums as I can. This is a challenge that I've created, which, although I've had issues in the past about whether it's going to be achievable or not, I don't think it was ever designed to be achievable. In the pyramid system of English football, teams are always going to go up and down, and the challenge will always have new teams to go and see, but also where I've set the boundary to go worldwide and visit as many countries and stadiums as I can. There's no way in my lifetime that I'm going to be able to go and see every stadium in the world. That's impossible. It'd be a really cool achievement, but it won't happen. But just the idea of going to as many stadiums as I can. I believe that at some point in my lifetime, I will complete the English stadiums, if anything else. But there needs to be the right reasons for me to visit places. I'm not just going to go somewhere just to see a football stadium, as much as I'd like to. I've got to be realistic about things. But to say that I have visited a load of football stadiums is quite cool. And as long as I have the ability to, I'm going to go and keep doing it. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Got a new Stadium Hunter video coming very soon. Like I've said before on the channel, I'm going to be doing one Stadium Hunter video yearly, so this year's video will come out some point within June or July, and it will show off all the stadiums that I have visited across the country. And you're going to need a bit of time to watch the video because there's a fair few. I'll stick a little trailer in now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a new day and it's a new round of stadiums. Villa Park, St James's Park, Hampton Park. A lot better than I was expecting. The UK's biggest Asda. Should have been a lot more exciting to be here. I really need to pee. Goodbye.